In this video, we're going to be talking about night flight. So during pre-flight, what things should be done to adequately prepare for the night flight? So the preparation should include study all weather reports and forecasts, right? And particular attention should be directed towards temperature dew point spreads to detect the possibility of fog formation. The other one is going to be calculate the wind directions and speeds along the proposed route of flight to ensure that the accurate drift calculations you know about those, and as the night visual perception of drift is generally inaccurate. Other things you can do is like obtain applicable aeronautical charts. Then you can also review all radio navigational aids uh, in order to know the correct frequencies and everything. We normally do that in the daytime too, but these are very become really important when we are thinking of the night flight. And if you are using a GPS, ensure that it is working properly. Again, just remember that it's going to be really hard. If you are depending on the GPS, you won't be able to do the dead reckoning, meaning you won't be able to see outside and kind of figure out where you are depending on the outside features, as you won't be able to see much. Check all personal equipment such as the flashlights are portable, and if you are having another spare batteries, just make sure everything is in there. The aircraft should be thoroughly pre-flighted, and all aircraft position lights as well as the landing light and rotating beacon should be checked for proper operation. Okay, what are some guidelines to follow during the starting, taxiing, and a run-up phases of a night flight? So remember that the pilot should exercise extra caution on clearing the propeller arc area. Just we as we follow the procedure of like uh, uh, saying it out loudly, clear to the right, clear to the left. Before that, you need to make sure that the area is clear. Okay, during taxiing, avoid unnecessary use of electrical equipment, which would put an abnormal load on the electrical system, such as the landing light. And the other and another thing is taxi slowly and follow any taxi lines. Okay, what are some of the guidelines to follow during the takeoff and departure phases of the night flight? So basically, we want to focus on the takeoff and departure. Kind of the same thing, right? So during these, like if you are doing the takeoff, right? You haven't been airborne yet. So if you are taking off, right, on the initial takeoff roll, use both the distant runway edge lights as well as the landing light area to keep the aircraft straight and parallel in the runway. And upon liftoff, keep a positive climb by referencing the attitude indicator. Don't just go with your senses, like with your notion of like, because there is a inclination that you're gonna think that your attitude is pitch high. So just remember, trust the attitude indicator, and uh, so that you can have a positive rate of climb. Okay. During the climb out, do not initiate any turns until reaching safe maneuvering altitude, and turn the landing light off after climb. Okay. What should the pilot do to provide proper orientation and navigation during a night flight? So, for the orientation and navigation, exercise caution to avoid flying into clouds or a layer of fog. Also, practice and acquire competency in straight and level flight. And also climbs and descents, level turns, and climbing and descending turns, and steep turns. You need to acquire the competency in that. Also practice these above maneuvers, like these level flights, steep turns, climbing, descending, uh, with all the cockpit lights turned off. The reason they say is like this type of the blackout training will prove helpful later on, like in the event of the electrical or instrument light failure. And the last thing is continually monitor uh, position, time estimates, and fuel consumed. These are the things you should. It's gonna help you keep become really good in orientation and navigation. If an engine failure occurs at night, what procedures should be followed? Okay, if the engine fails at night, the same procedures apply for dealing with the situation in the daytime. Maintain a positive control of the airplane. Do not panic. A normal glide should be established and maintained, and the airplane turned toward an airport or away from the congested areas. And again, do the same thing. You can actually use the frequency of 7700 on the transponder. You can also go on 121.5 on your radio if you are not connected to the ATC. Right, declare an emergency. It's definitely an emergency, and even in the daytime, it's an emergency. So definitely call out Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Yeah. So basically, just remember that nothing is different. If the engine fails, you need to make a like uh, the procedure is the same. You need to be you need to have a glide like a normal glide, uh, and maybe the other difference could be like if it is a lighted area, like you can see the interstate highways and parking lots and those kind of things, that is much better compared to just going into the dark. So if it is an unlighted area, dark areas, relatively with few lights indicating an open area such as a field, lake, uh, uh, it could be like you can give it a shot if you see something like an open field. Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about is like what procedures should be followed during the approach and landing phase of a night flight. So the procedure should be that the pilot should identify the airport and associated airport lighting and runway lighting. The aircraft should be flown towards the airport beacon until the runway lights are identified. A powered approach should be used because visual perception during a descent at night can be difficult. Then landing lights should be switched on upon entering the airport traffic area. And the pilot should avoid the use of excessive speed on approach and landing. Those were the things I wanted to cover. Thanks for watching.